I have delayed long enough. Are you ready?
Aye, aye, Captain.
I can't hear you.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Oh. Welcome to the Survivor Turning Back Time podcast, the Survivor podcast that hunts you down in the middle of the woods, corners you, and stabs you over and over again with a knife. I'm your host, Steven, with my co-host, as always, Jared. Jared, how you doing?
I loved watching you try to make it through that with a straight face. You're too pleasant and polite of a lad to even lead into that bit for 10 seconds.
I know, but I had to. I use what is given to me.
So, Steven.
Yes.
I have friends that are single women that are on the dating apps. And sometimes they send me things because I find them funny and they find them funny to share them with a straight guy who has no insight into their world except for the lesbian TikToks I see.
Okay.
So my friend just sent me this, sent from a guy named Maddie.
Okay.
Maddie, if you're out there,
What's up, Maddie?
be better. This is what he just sent her. Hey! Exclamation point. You have an amazing corn-fed vigor. With a monkey having hands in front of the eyes. May I dare to ask if I have odds to be a friend at least if I'm not your type? Thanks. Now we don't have time to unpack all of that.
Thanks, John.
Corn-fed vigor?
Yeah, that's a phrase that I have not heard. I'm assuming as a compliment, or just at all.
I think it's intended to be a compliment, but
Yeah.
I'm not even entirely sure.
That's wow. All right.
Just for everyone out there, when you're talking to someone that you are interested in romantically, sexually, whatever, on a dating app or in real life, maybe just talk to them like a human being.
That's the idea. Is
Yeah.
that these are humans, and you want to treat them with respect and not scare them away immediately with what your first words are.
I am not a love guru, and this is not that kind of podcast. And most of human entertainment since we've been writing, on the sides of caves has been about trying to figure out what someone you're interested in wants. That being said, I can tell you what not to do from that one prompt, and it's
Okay.
all of it.
Okay, good.
Don't do any of that.
Don't do that. That's not the move. Sorry, dude.
I literally got that text as we were turning on our microphones, and I was like, yeah, I gotta.
Is there a location? Like, is this Iowa? Does he think this is a
Oh.
compliment?
My brother in Christ, this is New York City.
Oh, no. There isn't any corn there.
No.
No. Well, I'm sorry, dude. You failed. I don't even know where to go from that.
No, I mean, it's there's no segue.
There's nothing you can say to that to make that okay.
We can just laugh.
Yeah.
My friend said that might be her 12th reason.
All right. Cool.
13th reason.
13th reason of what?
Oh, do you not know the show, or maybe it's a movie, 13th Reason Why, or 13 Reasons Why?
Give me the briefest of explanations.
TLDR, a girl commits suicide and writes a note about the 13 reasons why she killed herself.
Oh my
and it
God.
goes through them in the movie/TV show. It was very controversial.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I vaguely remember hearing about this, but still.
Like 8 years ago.
I don't know that I like that premise. Okay,
I don't either.
cool. This is so unhinged.
I went from podcast poison to podcast arsenic.
Yeah,
which is also poison, but much worse.
I may have to do some research. I know along the internet that's a thing that you can't say sometimes. I mean, we're an explicit podcast. Thank you for listening to our explicit podcast. So we're probably okay.
And we're also talking about the literal synopsis of a show that you can watch on Netflix right now.
Yeah. Well, if you're sticking around for this, don't harm yourself, please.
Oh, yes. No, absolutely. There's... I saw somebody post, I'm so depressed I can't brush my teeth or something like that in, a TikTok, and then it was like, people get so depressed they can't brush their teeth, and it's like, yeah, people get so depressed that they end it. If you're seeing signs of going that direction, please tell someone or get help.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep digging us in this serious hole. Like, I have been around people who have been at their lowest of lows, who have wanted to do something actionable, and if you or anyone around you is feeling that, get help. Even if they don't think that that is the best option for them, please get help. You are needed in someone's life, whether you think so or not.
Correct. I don't have a joke here. There shouldn't be a joke here.
There's no joke. Bumper.
All right. So, on this day, so this episode came out, and this was another one with a full week between it, as all of them will be from here on out. It came out on February 15th of 2001. So we're in the middle of February. We're just past Valentine's Day. There's only a couple of interesting things, one of which probably wasn't well known, but I do find just kind of interesting. American submarine USS Greenville accidentally strikes and sinks the Ehime Maru, a Japanese training vessel operated by the Uwajima Fishery High School.
Oh my god.
9 of the crew were killed, including 4 high school students.
Oh my god.
In February of 2001, we attacked a high school's fishing boat in Japan.
Holy hell. I've never heard of this.
No, it probably wasn't widely reported on for, not good reason, but for PR reasons.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Usually we just kill teenagers, on purpose with the U.S. military.
But here we are.
Here we are. Weird Al Yankovic got married at 41. He was 41 years old in 2001, and he is 20 years later still out there doing it.
Is that Weird Al movie out?
Oh, I don't know.
I want to see it. It's Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al, so I need it. I need it in my life.
I love this Daniel Radcliffe twist where he's just doing the weirdest movies now that he's, made it for life.
I need to see Swiss Army Man.
I haven't seen that.
It looks right up my alley of stupid.
You need to see Guns Akimbo. It is weird and visceral.
The one where he has, guns on his hands.
Bolted to his hands.
Yeah, okay.
And then, I don't know this song, but Ain't Nothing About You was released by Brooks and Dunn in this week.
Okay, it's a country song.
Yeah, it's a country song. Brooks and Dunn is pretty good, actually, I think. Right?
Yes. Okay, here's my backstory with country music. There's a country music festival in my hometown, so I cannot escape from country music for years and years and years. And then I get out and I practically never listen to country music ever again.
That's fair.
Even at the time, I was pretty anti-country music. I appreciate some of the I hate to say classics, but the big names around that time.
No, you mean folk. I love folk and bluegrass and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Pop country, I would rather stick my head into a wood chipper than listen to pop country.
There is, yes, yes is the answer. There is a brand of country that is storytelling. It's usually narrative driven. The lyrics are interesting, and the melody takes a back seat, but it's still important.
The Dolly Partons, the Bob Dylans, yeah.
Correct. I enjoy that. I enjoy a little bit of the stadium country music, where it's the Kenny Chesneys.
Oh, this is where our paths diverge.
They're catchy, and they're meant to be catchy, but the lyrics are not as provocative or well thought out. It's to get you to raise your beer and to scream out at the top of your lungs, and that's it.
I know it's pro-war propaganda, but we'll stick a boot in your ass, it's the American way. That song does get me because it is nostalgic.
Oh, no. That is the 2001 turn where it starts going super nationalist, patriotic. That's where I kind of peter out. Other than Rascal Flatts. I think Rascal Flatts had a good act that didn't make a whole lot of sense for country music.
That's fair.
But man, those harmonies.
And the number one song on the charts at this time was I'm Sorry, Mr. Jackson.
Oh my God.
I am for eels.
You're for eel?
I didn't mean to make your daughter cry. I am just for fish and not a guy.
You had this planned out. You were waiting for
I
this.
didn't actually. I just remembered that was a really good meme. Anytime we record 2 back-to-back, the second one is unhinged.
Yeah, Jared and I watched this episode together, and we're about to head out to New York, so we wanted to get this one recorded. Man, we are so out of it.
Yeah, good luck editing.
Yeah,
my
here
friend.
we go.
All right, so this episode
is titled "The Killing Fields."
Season 2, Episode 4.
Yeah, yep, and we're about to get into a lot of murdery shit. But it starts off right away with Tina and Keith wanting to go fishing. They are the first ones up in the morning. They want to get in the boat and start fishing, get food on the table for everyone, really trying to do a service to everyone. As they're setting up, as they're putting things into the boat, Jerry wakes up. Or no, I'm sorry. They're getting all the supplies ready. Jerry wakes up, takes the boat, brings it to the water, and starts packing her own shit, knowing full well that they're about to go fishing.
Jerry needs like 10% more chill. I really like Jerry, as I've talked about, but Jerry needs like 10% more chill.
Why are you stealing the boat? She acknowledges that she dug herself in a hole after last tribal, and then immediately starts stealing boats. Jerry thinks that this is a foregone conclusion, and at this point, I'm going to do whatever I want, and you can't stop me. Nana nana boo boo.
I think that's part of it.
I steal your boat.
I think part of it is Jerry feels very vulnerable. And in the tribe, now that she's put herself out there with that comment that we talked about last episode of like, I have really close relationships with Colby, Amber, and Mitchell. And so she's trying to be really controlling. She doesn't want Keith and Tina alone. She doesn't want Colby going off with either of Tina or Keith. And a lot of this behavior in life, but also in Survivor, can have opposite effects. It can draw those people together and push your allies into their arms.
Now, I can't tell. Does this remind me of my middle school days or my theater college days? I think both are applicable for weirdly the same reasons.
Everyone that goes to theater school had the exact same experience. Theater schools are so toxic, man.
They are.
They're so toxic.
They're bad. They're bad for you. Maybe don't do it. But also, who am I to say don't follow your dreams?
Follow your... just theater professors be better.
Fair.
And stop creating such toxic environments. But, yeah, so her and I think Mitchell take the boat out instead.
And Amber. Amber's in the boat, too.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep, so they're in the boat. So Keith and Tina just decide, well, I guess we're just gonna go fish on some logs.
It's weird because it does the opposite effect. Rather than her being controlling, going and doing that, she doesn't do anything to separate Keith and Tina. Mm-hmm. If she got in the boat with them, I'd understand it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's a little more strategy driven of, I don't want you to be like, hey, let's find every which way to get Jerry out. But no, she's trying to draw divisions in the tribe, trying to make it very clear and obvious where you stand.
Oh, I didn't put that together. That's a good point. Yeah, literally doing it to keep herself on a pedestal on top. I
take this boat because I deserve this boat.
I think she's trying to copy the Rich formula without adapting it to her tribe and season. We see her say something a little bit later where she says to Colby, it's not like you're making a deal with the devil or anything. And that's a pretty specific callback to season 1.
Yeah. I don't think she is, just on the basis that she isn't the provider. She isn't being sneaky. Well, yeah, sneaky's kind of gone out the window.
Sneaky's gone out the window, but she's trying to replicate by keeping an alliance. She immediately tries to start an alliance of 4, and she sees Colby as the Kelly and is trying to keep him close enough. And maybe I'm overreading into that comment, sure. But I just think that's interesting.
This is where our emails have been hinted at that Jerry is one of the OG villains in Survivor, and it really makes you feel that.
Good.
I like it.
I like a good villain.
But weirdly, it looks like Tina and Keith have more luck in their fishing because they catch a fish. It does not show the boat team catching a fish. Because there's a very graphic fish murder shot where Keith stabs a fish right behind the gills, which is the thing to do. I know that, like, if you want that fish not to suffer, you do it right there. But it didn't need to be shown.
No, but they put it with a really ominous line about basically, like, we're going to take her down, and then
Pooh, stab the fish. There's a lot of animal killing in this episode.
Animal killing in this episode. Oh, there is one thing I wanted to comment about Keith and Tina's conversation. Mm-hmm. Keith and Tina are correct in their assessment of the tribe, and yet Keith is still a dick about it.
Yeah.
And this is just why I don't like Keith. I mean, he shows his hand over and over again. He is belittling Jerry. He feels insecure. He belittles other people on the tribe too, but like most of it's aimed at Jerry right now, and he's like, he gets really small and petty, like talking about like, later in the episode, he's like, I don't even care if I win, I just want to make sure she loses, which is like a bit of a piss baby attitude. Like, you still have you still have a chance to win. Why are you throwing that away just to sabotage somebody else? And he says one comment that it really gets under my skin. I didn't come here to be outplayed by a 22-year-old wannabe actress bartender. Now, I am biased. Steven and I are in theater.
Sure.
If you're in the performing arts and you're doing it, you're not aspiring. You are an actor.
I actually did have that same thought in this episode, that because of the subtitle that she's given as aspiring actress every single time,
it bugs me so much.
Yeah, if you're doing anything or you even are showing up to auditions, you're an actor. That's your job.
Yeah. It's like, you don't have to be Tom Hanks to be a working actor.
Yeah.
That always drives me insane, and like, that's a whole side tangent. But Keith does not respect the people around him.
Yeah. Two thoughts. One, it's weird that the dynamic is the same between Keith and Jerry, because they're both essentially doing the same thing, being petty, creating divisions, and making this a you versus me thing.
Yeah, Ogacor's a mess, and it's all because of their feud.
But the way you look at it is different, just solely based on who they are, and I think editing has something to do with that too, is you look at a 20-something woman doing it, and it's a villain, but you look at this older guy doing it, and I don't picture him as a villain, but I picture him as like this petty, annoying old guy. It's just interesting. I don't have an answer for this. Just a weird thought in my brain.
It's kind of the power of the default. So like, someone that looks and acts like Keith is the default, i.e. like, I think I've talked about this before. Like the default person who should be in charge. Like we talked about in season 1, where like Greg became the leader because he's the charismatic white guy. And everyone's like, Greg should be in charge. And Greg's like, I don't want to be in charge, but I guess I have to be in charge. It's like, Keith thinks he should be in charge because he's always in charge.
Yeah.
Because that's the role he takes, being
white man chef.
Being a white man chef. Also, chefs have huge egos. Like,
oh, I know.
Yeah.
Believe me. I have worked in a kitchen, and I hated it so much.
I'm not saying every chef has a huge ego, but by trade, you like, it's one of those trades where like you usually have a huge ego to run a kitchen.
That's not even true. I didn't work in a kitchen. I worked as a server. So I was not in there enough, and I still hated it.
And it's just kind of, since he sees himself as like the default, he's like, I should be the leader. That's who I am. How dare she?
Yeah.
But she's doing a better job of it.
Sure.
Well, kind of.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
2, my other thought in this that is very short, and I just had to say it because you reminded me of it. Australia has funny slang. I truly enjoy Australian slang. There's so many good ones, but because I've worked with a lot of people from different countries, my favorite slang that I learned over the course of this is from Australia, where she said to my face and to everyone's face, "We didn't come here to fuck spiders."
I'm sorry?
Yes, that is legitimate Australian slang that I thought was not, or like, there are some times where you're from a different place and you can pull people's strings and like,
Yeah.
oh no, all of the people from Minnesota talk like that. But this is documented in a video game that I played, and it showed up. It was said clear as day with the subtitle, and I was like, oh my god, it is true.
Man, I love how vulgar Australia is.
They didn't count me to fuck spiders.
Oh,
That was terrible. That was terrible.
It's great accent, Steven.
Thank
0
you.
out of 10. Or 10 out of 10, no notes.
Thank you. I didn't take that in dialects class. Australian. My bad. Okay, we've been talking about this too long. Let's keep moving.
Yes.
Okay, Core. We start the prep for the reward challenge, and they're told to build a chicken coop. They're going to play for chickens. They played for chickens in first season, so this isn't a shock to anyone. Kimmy wants to win despite being a vegetarian. And they're going to play this vegetarian card as much as they can.
Yeah, and this is one of those areas where I want, like, my gut is like, wow, are they editing Kimmy wrong? But I don't think they are, because her tribe seems really agitated by it, especially in the preview for the next episode we get, the end of this episode. Yeah, that's a strongly held moral conviction, Kimmy, and, you should hold to that. You can't make your tribe hold to that. And you can't throw a fit when they're excited to eat the chickens. Like, they don't believe the same thing as you, and you can't try to force it down their throat.
But here I thought it was a step in the right direction, that you want your team to win because you want your team to have this comfort.
Yes.
But we lose that later.
Yeah, once we'll get to that when we get past
Immediately.
the challenge.
And then Scoopin talks about, I don't know that if we want to win this chickens, because if we win the chickens, then I become less valuable.
So we didn't start the episode with a scoop-in creepy food monologue. We just got one 10 minutes into the episode instead.
And we get it multiple times during this episode.
Why are all of his confessionals, is he whispering into the camera? The first time I gave him, I was like, okay, well, they recorded him on the boat, whatever, he's fishing. But this is now 3 episodes in a row where he's like doing this weird ASMR voice thing into the camera.
He doesn't know how to talk to people, Jared.
It is insane. He reminds me of Mark Zuckerberg. He's just an android out there.
Yeah. He is GameBot.
No, because he's not even like...
He's Murderbot.
He's Murderbot.
Murderbot 3000.
Oh, no.
Have you seen Futurama?
Yeah, like we have to throw all of our soldiers at them because their kill count only goes so high.
Oh, there's that one.
Before they shut down.
I was thinking more of the... what's his name? There's a robot with like big eye that is the stabbing robot.
Oh yeah, that's Scoopin'.
It is Scoopin'. I'm gonna stab ya. Ha, ha, ha. Okay, done with that. It's our first slide puzzle.
It's not a very good one.
It's our first slide puzzle.
It's 8 pieces.
Jared, it's a slide puzzle.
It is a slide puzzle.
Yes, they needed something else to this challenge, but it's a big ass slide puzzle. Each piece requires multiple people to move around.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised as to how well the pieces moved. Usually when you get anything that big, it's gonna like jam and get caught, but no, it seemed to move very well.
And this is also edited pretty badly. It's hard to tell who's ahead the whole time or who's like figuring it out. The only real shot we get of anyone figuring out is Kimmy.
Yeah.
Like yelling at her tribe, like not yelling it like angrily, but yelling like, oh, I've got it, and like just yelling answers at people.
Yeah,
and
Kimmy takes charge right at the end and
Yeah.
really navigates her team to victory on this one.
Now, here's a question.
Yes, answer.
There are rewards on a map, Steven.
Yes, sorry, we didn't explain that. Keep going.
Their reward is on, like, the slide puzzle is a map, and it leads them to their reward of chickens.
Sure.
Why didn't the map just lead them to some, like, why wasn't that, like, the second leg of the challenge? Solve the slide puzzle, follow the map, and then you win, so that we had more than just an 8-piece slide puzzle for this reward.
I get the feeling that it was supposed to be more than that, and then they had to cut it down for whatever reason. Because there really is no point for there the slide puzzle to be just a map.
Yeah.
And then, boom, challenge is done. And then the other part, which you saw me get visibly upset, was why did they have them build a coop pre-challenge if they didn't need it? They go to the chicken area, they get the chickens, and they don't use the coop. They didn't even bring the coop with them.
No.
It's just for them when they get back. So the team that didn't win just has a coop.
As a reminder of their failure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. And the editing around them getting the chickens is also weird.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's fine. Like, they're putting in the boxes. Kimmy freaks out, like, don't break its wing.
Don't hurt it.
Kimmy, you have to chill. You have to chill about this.
We ain't gonna chill.
I know. And then, like, there's just, like, a weird cutaway of Alicia being happy and then, like, walking with the chickens and then Elizabeth cheerleading, and then it just hard cuts to commercial in a way that felt like they left in extra footage they forgot was there or something.
Possibly. Hey, we gotta make that exact timing. Like, we put in some garbage time.
They lost a sponsor and lost one commercial, so like, crap, we gotta throw in one more minute of footage.
Put that in. Okay. Where? I don't know. Scoopin' is terrifying.
That's the next thing.
That's
now
the
we
next
get
thing.
the full-on Scoopin' being like, I did the math. They have one chicken for every 2 days. They do not need me when they have the food till the merge. They will get rid of me, it seems. Oh.
He was fully prepared to just wake up first thing in the morning and kill a chicken on his own.
How many shots do we get of Scoopin' just like on the perimeter of the camp holding a knife?
Too many. The answer is too many.
Way too many!
Before, like, it's joking, and you're like, okay, this person has a weird affection to weapons and, like, needs to be the provider. This is the time where you're like, this may actually be a problem, and I'm a little concerned for everyone's safety. So,
in the first two, maybe even in the third episode, if I hadn't known about the child porn thing, I might have given him, like, you know, I might have had reactions to him similar to Greg, where I'm like, oh, this guy's really weird. What is he doing? Mm-hmm. But, like, oh, he's kind of, like sullen about it being weird, rather than Greg was, like, outbursts of energy. This episode, I would have had the exact same reaction. Because this, like... if I was on his tribe, I would be worried he was going to stab me in my sleep.
Yeah.
Or kill... I was wondering if he was going to kill the chickens, make the reward useless, so that they had to keep him around.
I fully support that thought, because the way it sets it up, like, it makes it look like he might just do it on his own to be useful.
And people have to, like, stop him.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we need to talk about it as a tribe. That whole segment made me uneasy. Mm-hmm. I was probably visually uncomfortable because he makes me visibly uncomfortable.
Yeah. Less of Scoopin', please. The fire is closing in.
Oh, hey! Steven.
Yeah?
Remember podcast episode 1?
Yes, Jared.
When I was like, hey, maybe we shouldn't light giant towers of shit on fire?
Uh-huh.
In the Australian Outback.
You feeling a little vindicated?
Feeling a little vindicated.
There is a wildfire closing in. It's showing footage, what looks like the same footage over and over again, of a tree line. And it is very interesting looking. Like, you see a line of fire just kind of working its way through the Australian Outback.
It's not blazing high.
No.
It's a very low, continuous fire.
It's low, it's slow moving, but you're still concerned for these people's safety. Like, if a fire moves toward you, yes, they have that river there, but what do? They just sit in the water and wait for it to go past them?
It could jump the river.
Yeah, it could jump the river.
It also, they mentioned this a couple times in the episode, but it will bring displaced wildlife towards them.
Yes, it could, and it does.
Which is to the benefit of Kucha, but if it wasn't a pig, if it was, you know,
it's later in the episode, but let's just talk about it.
Sure.
It pushes a pig toward the Kucha tribe, and It's a youngling pig. It looks like it's maybe a year old, not too big. It's not a pig as you would necessarily think of a farm animal pig. It's one of the furry ones. It's got lots of hair. It's pretty small and pretty agile too.
Yeah.
It didn't look like much of a physical threat, but still, I guarantee it probably could have. It's a cornered animal. It could have done some damage. Yeah, everyone's just kind of hanging out, and who was it? Who says, "Oh, there's a pig over there"?
I think it was Elizabeth.
It might have been Elizabeth, and then
I think Alicia sees it too. Or no, sorry, no, it was
Nick.
Nick. It was Nick and Elizabeth.
Yep, Nick and Elizabeth are down at the shoreline, and they say, "Oh, there's a pig," and Michael immediately grabs the knife, not his spear.
Nope.
I wonder if he disassembled the spear, because it does look like the knife that...
Yeah, I think they had to maybe use the knife for the chicken.
Fish. Or
for
chicken,
the fish.
that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And just sprints after this thing, corners it with the help of Nick, eventually, and just full-on Friday the 13th style, just starts stabbing this thing. It doesn't do Scoopin any more favors to make me not think he's a serial killer.
No, he enjoys it way too much.
Far too much.
Sure, it's very practical for the tribe. That pig's full of nutrition. Great. You don't have to take so much enjoyment in the killing and the butchering.
Yeah.
I've said before, if any of the contestants on these seasons I talk about want to come on our podcast and dispute me, great. Scoopin', that invite is not valid. Some exceptions apply.
Yeah. No, we're not gonna do that. Although I have thought about, we should really be reaching out to these people, and maybe I'll have that be your job. Like at the start of each season, we should reach out to the cast. No,
I'm sure they get that stuff all the time.
No, because if you look at their social media accounts, then you'll know where they finish, because most of them put them on there. Okay, never mind. I will do that. I will reach out. Everyone just kind of stumbles upon this and is like, this is a murder scene. Everyone feels real uncomfortable. And Kimmy is not even around for this.
Thank God.
Thank God. Because that would have been a mental breakdown that I was not prepared for.
Nope. They probably told her to stay away too. And then he hangs his pig up, which is, I think, how you do it. We've all seen like Rocky punching the pig and all that. You gotta let blood drain or whatever.
Yep.
And when he hangs out near the river, I'm like, how's he gonna stop like another wild animal from like coming over and eating it? And he must have heard me, because then he breaks down the body into a bunch of different chunks and hangs it around their camp.
Yes, I am gonna defend this one. It's butchering.
It is.
It's putting it in cuts that are usable, you can cook.
They look like he's put them up like Christmas decorations with the way that he situated them around camp. Like, he didn't like pick an area like, this is the butchery area. He's like, yes, and we'll hang this part near the tent, and then we'll hang this part over by the fire.
Jared, did you ever hunt?
No.
Okay.
I wanted to.
Did you really?
I like bow and arrows a lot.
Okay. I was gun safety trained. I have hunted. My family is like literal middle of nowhere, 300 people, towns, lots of tree lines and farms where there's just deer running around. I have hunted. I have killed deer. I am weirdly a good shot. I don't know if that's the video games that help me with that, but I am a good shot with a gun. I have not touched a gun since then. I last went hunting, I was probably 15, so it's been about 15 years. Yeah, you have to. The way he hung up the pig and the pig's body is the way that you do it, and the butchering techniques were correct. However, it was weirdly too graphic for TV. I don't know why they showed that part.
Yeah, I guess maybe I should be keying in more on how weird it was that Scoopin was enjoying it so much.
Oh no, that, don't get me wrong, that was concerning.
But that is interesting information. I knew you had to hang things up, but I didn't realize he knew so much about that, or that that's the way it was done.
Yeah. I don't want to know more about that.
Moving on.
At Ogakor, Tina has nothing to lose, so trying to pull in Colby.
I thought this was very foolish at the time.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So I thought Colby was the wrong person to go after.
Who would you rather go after?
Well, I don't know anything about Amber, so maybe her, but I can't say because the show... we have now had 3 episodes in a row of Ogakor voting somebody out, and I've heard like 6 words out of Amber's mouth.
That is true.
Either the editors did her dirty, or she is the least interesting person on the face of this planet. So maybe her, but I have no way of knowing. I feel like there was an angle to go to Mitchell and be like, dude, she's playing you. But I'm wrong. My read on that in the moment was wrong.
Yeah.
I thought Colby would not be so willing.
Yeah, Colby jumps in on that, and as we'll see later in the vote, Colby was the correct target to go after. Amber, I think, is sticking to Jerry. I think either out of friendship or as a shield, and I that's probably too much credit for season 2. Amber kind of knows what she's doing, sticking and using Jerry to make the moves.
Maybe.
I
hope we learn some of that later, because we haven't learned it thus far.
Got a good point. But there is a crack there. Colby wants to keep Keith. Mm-hmm. Colby sees the food and is all bought in on keeping Keith.
Which I do think is a little short-sighted. Now, if you want to keep Keith for other reasons, okay. Mm-hmm. You only have... It seems like they know when the merge is coming. Because they say, in order for us to have even numbers at the merge, we cannot lose any more tribals. Mm-hmm. They're down 2 members. So that would mean... Or they're down 1 member.
At the time, yeah, they're down 1.
Okay, so they probably... So there's probably 2 more immunity challenges then. That's 6 days. Mm-hmm. And you'd only be voting Keith off... when you vote Keith off, it'll only be 3 days. Mm-hmm. If you want to keep him for strategy, fine. But I think you'll be fine for 3 days without him. Especially because he's not the one catching the fish.
You got a good point.
And pretty much, I think anyone can cook it. Maybe not as well as him, but you can make it edible.
I think, weirdly, we thought that the cooking and the preparation wasn't a big deal and that people were learning. But I think with how good it was, it is actually saving Keith's hide.
Maybe.
So, good on Keith. He can cook. And that's his job. Vice versa, Jerry, Amber, and Mitchell are doing tribe math. And they're thinking, are we in danger? What do we do here?
Yeah, they seem pretty calm about it because they're like, at worst, it's 3-3.
Yeah.
They sense that Colby... I don't think they... we only see what they show us in the edit. It didn't sound to me like they were actually concerned Colby was flipping, but they were just doing it as hey, he's talking to Keith a lot.
Yeah, they have the thought.
Yeah.
So Jerry and Colby go off on their own pig hunt. This is before the other team gets their pig, but they go off on their own pig hunt, seeing that the fire might move things toward them. But really, this is just an excuse for Jerry to mac on Colby real hard. She wants him so bad. But she's smart. She's very smart, and she's reading that, hey, he was flirting with me before. He's kind of pulling away now. Mm-hmm. I'm concerned.
And yeah, she should be.
Yep. And she's correct.
Colby senses that she's concerned. And I actually think that pushes him away. He says that he's, that she's being, it's confessional, so it's just to us. Mm-hmm. That she's being a little paranoid, that she's acting a little...
She's gaming so hard.
Exactly. Yeah. If she chilled a little bit, I think it might have... I don't know if it would have changed it, but it might have.
Yeah, and that's really the whole segment there, is just Jerry macking on Colby. Colby's keeping a distance, and Jerry realizing, oh no.
Yeah, they have a cat and mouse for a little while. They kind of beat around the bush for a bit, and then Jerry kind of is like, what's going on?
Yeah, except for Jared pointing out this lovely fact of, why are his clothes so baggy?
Why are his clothes so baggy?
Jared, come on. You were alive in the 90s. That was fashion.
Yeah.
I mean, at least I think it's fashion. My parents just bought me clothes that were too big for me, thinking I was going to grow into them. Ha!
Here's the thing. Colby's ripped.
Oh, yeah.
Colby's hot.
Yeah.
Why are you hiding yourself behind giant baggy clothing?
That was the style, man.
Man, what a terrible style.
Speaking of that, Alicia, also super ripped. I don't know if
Yes!
I don't know if I had noticed that before. Like, yes, probably. But this episode really just points out Alicia's abs.
She's in some type, like, either like a sports bra or some type of, like, thing that exposes her midriff, where she has, like, an 8-pack.
Got core, man. Good for you.
She's a beast.
On other things that I noticed in this episode that I thought were weird, some luxury items that stuck out to me in the episode. A Frisbee.
That's what that was.
Yeah, I believe it was Nick was using a Frisbee for cleaning or something. But also, while the tribes were laying in their camp, I think it was in Ogakor, or maybe it was in Kuja, there is a very visible Scrabble box.
Ha! I didn't catch that.
A full-on box of Scrabble. They haven't shown them use it yet, but I saw the box.
They probably don't want to show things like that.
It was there.
But it was there.
It was there. Very visible.
Huh.
What? Okay,
How many times can you play Scrabble in a row before you just lose it?
I don't know. That's not the game that I would bring.
No.
What? Okay, viable question. What game would you bring if you had to into Survivor?
Oh, that's a really good question. I feel like a Ticket to Ride or something that you can easily teach a group that has strategy to it.
Sure.
But people can kind of like, you can play when you're hungry, you can play when you're tired. You don't need to know a million rules or a million interactions. Like something that's pretty straightforward, but still complex enough to be fun.
Okay. I would probably ride on the same line of straightforward, but still has complexities. But I would change it to a game that either everyone knows or has some idea of what it is. And I'm going to go with a chessboard.
Ooh, that could be fun.
Yeah, enough that you can get good use out of it, and like every game is different, so you're always changing up your strategies. You're learning from each game, from each other. That's what I would go with. I have a weird memory in my brain of what's the game? There's a game with chips, almost like checkers, but there's a board with like triangles.
Backgammon?
It might be backgammon.
Does it have like the little divots for the...
It sounds right.
Backgammon it is.
I have a very vivid memory of a backgammon board in Survivor. So someone has brought a backgammon board somewhere.
Okay.
Weird. Immunity challenge. It's a trivia challenge. While I look up what a backgammon board is, talk to me about this challenge.
Yeah, so trivia challenge. It seems like... So we have how many members on the tribe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... I think it was 5 individual spaces, and then the 6th one was the finish.
It had to be enough for everyone.
No, because somebody answers twice. Mitchell goes twice.
Yes, because they're down numbers. So it had to be one for everyone. So Kucha has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people left.
Yeah, so... Oh, I see what you're saying.
6 spots and a 7th win.
Gotcha. Either way, yeah, trivia... for them, or for everyone. The questions, we didn't see all of them. It seems like they were pretty hard because they kept having to cycle through footage or like cut ahead.
But this is the trivia challenge that wasn't there in the first season.
Yes.
They were all survival related questions, and they seemed relevant to them, or at least mostly relevant to them. Some of them were a little more of a stretch.
Yeah.
What was the
The first one was like, what can you magnetize and use as a compass? It was like...
Yeah, what material would you use to magnetize a needle to make your own compass?
And it's silk.
It was silk, which was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Cool. They're probably not going to use that out here, hopefully.
No. Yeah, hopefully not.
Oh, and then like the number of flies increased when Europeans land on the continent, true or false?
I'll give them credit. True or false questions are usually pretty easy.
Yeah.
Or at least... you don't feel bad about getting that wrong.
50-50 shot.
It doesn't feel unfair. Of the 10 most deadly snakes in the world, how many of them are in Australia?
Apparently 9.
9 of them.
90%.
Yay! So this challenge is weird how they set it up. So you have to get an answer correct for your team. Mm-hmm. So when you get that answer correct, you just claim a spot. Yeah. That is your spot. And everyone has to claim a spot to win.
They really favor challenges that will single someone out.
Yes, correct.
They're like artificially singling people out in these. Yeah.
People who struggled in this one. Alicia really struggled. Mm-hmm. They really didn't show anyone else.
They didn't really show anyone else struggle because they do such weird jump cuts. And they have this really weird dance party music to transition.
Yeah. Incredibly jarring dance music that comes out of nowhere. Like, you're answering questions, you're sitting, you're watching, and then immediately, boom, picture of a waterfall. It wasn't that, but still, it was very, like, heavy electronic techno.
It was odd.
It was out of place, and I was confused.
But it becomes a tie with only the winner spot left to claim. Alicia versus Mitchell.
Yeah. Tina also struggled with this challenge. Okay. I wanted to single out someone. But yes, Tina gets her question, so then they have to pull someone from the first person who got it right, a question right, from Ogakor, so that they answered the same amount of questions, and it is Mitchell. So it's Mitchell versus Alicia.
Yeah, and Jeff. Oh, Jeff. Before he asked the question, he's like, Alicia, if you screw this up, you're really screwed, huh? Like, he doesn't say that verbatim, obviously, but it's like, hey, you feel the pressure, Alicia?
Yeah, it feels real out of place.
It did.
From Jeff. I didn't understand that.
I mean, whatever. He's probably experimenting with how sassy he wants to get in the challenges.
I do like Sassy Jeff.
I like Sassy Jeff too. I was okay with it.
And we'll get more Sassy Jeff in Tribal Council. But yeah, that last question was weird.
Yeah, I didn't like this last question.
It seemed a little too subjective for a survival question. It talked about what should you
not do if you're trying to build a fire?
Yes.
Already incredibly broad.
Yeah. One of the questions one of the answers and what Mitchell selects is don't make it by a rock slide.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. If rocks are sliding down a hill, you probably shouldn't build a fire there. That sounds like a correct answer to me.
Yeah.
What was the actual correct answer?
The actual answer was surround it with have wet rocks on the outside, of the perimeter.
Which is also, again, yeah, okay, sounds correct, but
it's also like, are damp rocks okay? Like, what do you mean by a wet rock, Jeff?
It doesn't. We were doing so well with this trivia challenge, and then we blew it right at the end.
It's not something. It wasn't like there was one that was so obviously wrong. No. Like, there was one where it's like, pour buckets of water over it. That'd be too easy, obviously, but I couldn't think of a better example. It's a bad question.
It is a bad question, but Alicia gets it right.
Meaning Ogakor is going to Tribal for the third time in a row.
Yeah, so Kucha wins, Ogakor going to Tribal. There's not really much in between. And actually, that challenge was right next to Tribal.
Yes, Jeff points and he's like, yeah, you're going to be right over there.
Yeah, crazy.
Oh, I did write down, Mad Dog probably would have been good at this challenge.
Yeah, Mad Dog would have.
Damn.
You know who also would have been good at this challenge?
Who?
Deb.
That's true.
Deb's good at things.
Deb would have been the MVP at this challenge.
Yep. So we're at Tribal, and we go to Tribal because there's a lot that's going to happen at this Tribal.
Yes.
They're ticked off. Everyone's ticked off. Colby's ticked off that there's food. There's food out there, but it's not coming to them. He's mad that the other team got a pig.
He's mad that they're losing.
And Jeff is antagonizing them. Because he says, and I quote, Kucha is kicking your ass.
Yep.
Wow, Jeff. Okay.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. You could have said it a little more tactful, but you're not wrong.
We've unlocked Sassy Jeff.
Good on you, Sassy Jeff. We get into the vote, and it's a tie.
So, but this is something that I don't know if you caught.
Okay, go on.
Tina writes down Mitchell's name. She's one of the votes that we see before it's shown that it's a tie. And she writes, and she says, on the walk over here, there was a new scheme.
Yes. And we'll talk about that post episode.
I was going to say, I think I have a theory.
Okay. Actually, just go ahead and tell me your theory.
So I think that Colby was refusing to vote Jerry, and this was a compromise for them. That Colby was like, I can't do it. Like, I have a close relationship with her. We have an alliance. It's not helpful for me. And Colby talks earlier in the episode about how Mitchell and Amber are both in Jerry's pocket. And so I think that they then floated out the name on the walk over. Well, would you do Mitchell or would you do Amber? And Colby ponders it over and thinks, yeah, I'd probably get rid of Mitchell.
I want to say you're not far off, but we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a tie, meaning that the two people who had votes, Mitchell and Keith. Yeah. I don't know why I forget the name Keith. Mitchell and Keith have votes, so they don't get to vote. So Jeff asked them, all right, give your elevator pitch, give your spiel. Why should they keep you?
And Keith gives kind of a weak one. Not like comparatively a good one, but he's just like, I provide food and I will be strong for the challenges.
Yeah. Honestly, though, if he's trying to compare himself against Mitchell, I think he'd had a good argument is that whatever, he'll cook the food. Doesn't matter. But Mitchell's fallen apart.
Yeah.
And you should keep me for tribe strength. I can do the challenges. I don't think Mitchell can anymore. And then we pan over to Mitchell. All right, Mitchell, your turn. No. Keith is right. You should keep Keith. My body can't do this anymore.
This blew me away. So, Mitchell, what the hell? He's been talking about how hard it is on his body, but, you're just giving up? I was really disappointed.
It's incredibly disappointing, and you're right. He has been talking, and almost the last 2 episodes, he's been deteriorating into almost giving up. And he looks very small.
Yeah.
He is a very tall man, and he does not have much on his body to sustain himself.
And I know that it's hard, but I just, I don't know, man. You've done this for a week now? Is this 10 days? It'd be 10 days. You can push through. You've already... Yeah, I don't know. It bugs me. And also, if you were going to give up, you should have gone home 3 days ago and, saved your tribe a vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he folds, and then the other 4 have to vote again. And you would think that the tribe would see that and say, okay, yeah, let's just fulfill his wishes.
I thought Amber was going to.
I thought Amber was too.
Despite knowing nothing about Amber.
I knew what happened, and I was like, yeah, maybe Amber will do it. Nope. All 4 of them vote the same way that they did to start. So we are in a deadlock. And this is our first deadlock of Survivor. Mm-hmm. And Jeff explains that the tie-breaking procedure at this point in the game is to vote out the person who has received the most votes so far. And Jeff asks them, how many votes have you had?
Keith says 0.
Keith is 0. And Mitchell has 1.
It's so stupid.
A single vote. And
this is such a stupid way to do a tiebreaker.
Correct. It is a bad tiebreaker.
And probably why they don't keep it for very long, yeah, I imagine.
They will work themselves into a corner.
Well, because then, what happens if they both had 0? Do they have a fallback plan? Is this where the rocks come from?
Are they? What happens if they just lie?
I thought Jeff knew how many, and was just asking them as hey, say it. But if he was relying on them to tell the truth, then yeah, wait, what? I was also surprised to hear that Keith had 0 votes.
Yeah, I'm looking up who voted for Mitchell.
Well, Kel got all of the votes.
Oh, that's funny.
And Marilyn, who voted for Mitchell?
So you remember in the last episode when the 2 people did not vote the same?
It was Keith.
It was Keith. Keith voted for Mitchell 2 weeks in a row, thus putting the dagger into Mitchell.
Whoa. Okay, that's kind of cool.
Keith is playing some 4D chess here.
Oh my god.
Good on him.
Okay.
Yeah, it's It's a lot. So yeah, Mitchell, Jerry, Amber all voted Keith. Tina, Keith, Colby all voted Mitchell. And in his closing remarks, Mitchell feels betrayed.
Yeah.
Do you
Probably
have?
by Colby.
Yeah, and I get that. Like you have your friendship and you talk about that, but also you sold yourself out.
The only thing I can think is that we're being too harsh on him for what was because he says, he's like, wow, you guys really put me on the spot here, because as far as he knew, it was between Keith and maybe Jerry, expecting it to be a 4-2, and suddenly his name's up.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he's just bad with words, and maybe he didn't want to go home. Maybe he was just like, yeah, like he started out the statement with like with that logic, you should keep Keith. And he expected a but to come out of himself, like, but here's what I can provide, and got stumped, couldn't think of what the but was, and just stopped talking. I don't know, but yeah, no, he felt betrayed, and he was blindsided.
He absolutely was.
Would you consider this the first blindside of Survivor history? I think I would.
Yeah, I think that's.
I don't think season 1 had any blindsides.
It didn't really. I want to say there was a couple people who didn't realize they were on the chopping block. I would consider this the first blindside because all of the ones where people felt blindsided in season 1, it was a pretty unanimous vote. Just because they didn't know it was coming doesn't mean it was necessarily a blindside. Nobody flip-flopped to change the game here. Yeah,
I think that a blindside also requires intent. And a lot of the times when people were surprised in season 1, it was just people didn't like them very much. Yeah. And so they got rid of them, not like an alliance targeted them for a strategic reason.
Yeah. Lots of interesting there. How do you think Mitchell does in Survivor today?
Terrible. He was led along. I mean, even we're only 4 episodes in, but he was a goat to be herded anyway. He wasn't making any moves on his own.
Yeah.
He was just following Jerry. Maybe he would have eventually, but with the evidence in front of me, he hadn't so far, and he had no inclination of. I mean, his speech at Tribal was weak for himself. He literally conceded. Maybe you can make an argument in a season that has nicer conditions. Maybe he holds up better, but I don't know. The conditions haven't been that bad as far as food goes, which seems to be where he's really struggling. They've actually been doing okay on food. And it's not like, in the new seasons where they're not even given rice. Like, they've had some flour, they've made tortillas, they've caught fish, they've had rice. Yeah, I just don't really see him. I kind of see him as like a first boot pretty much any season.
I don't think Ogakor is doing as well on food. I think they are getting a little bit of wild food from the fish, but they're clearly not doing as well as Kucha is.
That's true. And Ogakor overall they're doing real bad.
Yeah, they're falling apart here. Both physically and mentally, the game is on, and they're having to make tough decisions much, much earlier than Kucha is.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your protagonist?
I'm gonna give it to 2 of them because I think they worked in tandem very well.
Okay.
Keith and Tina. They shook up the vote. They shook up their tribe. They talked Colby into it. If I had to pick one of the 2, it would be Keith.
Okay.
Because he's the one who seems to have really swayed Colby. But I think it's pretty close, and I don't really like Keith, but he played well.
Yeah, I think he did a good job there. As far as post-game, this is an interesting one. There's a good interview because of what happens here. Mitchell does lose 35 pounds on the show. So my read of...
Jesus!
Yeah, he was looking much, much smaller than he was when he showed up.
In 10 days?
In not very long.
He must have had dysentery or something.
Something must have happened to make this... You don't lose that much weight on water weight alone.
No.
Even still, you're getting water, so I don't know what's happening there.
He must have had, a parasite or something.
Yeah. Interesting conversations in this article. One, he says that the hike to tribal council, how long would you guess that hike is?
45 minutes?
That's kind of what he's saying most people think. He said it was 3 to 4 hours
Oh my
a
god.
hike to tribal council. That seems a little bit of an exaggeration, but still.
It's not like they have a watch they can check.
They talk about that walk to tribal. Usually, they'll stop you, they'll do interviews with the camera crew, and he'll kind of shoot the shit with Colby. He sensed that something was wrong in that Colby didn't want to really shoot the shit with him. He didn't hang back like he usually does.
That also makes me worried for Colby for the rest of the season, and that now we've had two separate people that can read him so easily.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, he definitely wears his emotions and his thoughts on his sleeve, and Mitchell knew something was wrong, and they tell him that, yeah, I think we're going to vote out Amber tonight. So he gets the sense that, yes, okay, he's flipping on me, but he doesn't feel like he's in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly he is. So then he talks about, in this interview that I'm reading here, it's a pretty great interview, that he goes second. He is the second vote. Colby is the first vote. And so Colby writes his vote, which is Mitchell, folds it up, puts it in the urn. Well, he puts it in the urn, the crease down. So
it's open.
So it's open. So Mitchell reaches in to put his vote in and sees his name written by his friend.
Oh my god.
And goes back and starts crying on the bench, knowing that he might be about to go home. So the mental collapse is probably aided by the fact that he knows what's about to happen.
Yeah.
So he feels betrayed, he feels hurt, and he feels that his friend is stabbing him in the back here. And he sees the whole thing coming for about 3 hours.
God.
So that's a really rough scenario for him. But post-game, Mitchell gets hit harder. Mitchell is gay.
Okay.
He chooses not to express that on national television because he is from South Dakota.
And you saw how Rich was, some of how that became like the dominating thing about Rich that was the interest of all the media.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that he sees this and he doesn't want that.
Okay.
Which makes total sense. Well, of course, the media is going to sniff this out, and they outed him.
Oh, fuck.
On what was it? Like a newspaper. So he's shopping in New Jersey for groceries, and he sees his face on some gross tabloid saying Mitchell from Survivor is gay. And essentially, that's how the entire world finds out. And not in his control. And just... I feel so bad.
Man.
Yeah. CBS tells you numerous times the press are going to call you gay, the fans are going to call you gay, David Letterman and Howard Stern are going to call you gay. And I thought, you know what, that's fine. No. He says he wants to kind of keep it down because he has family and friends and with their religious beliefs, and they are not, he's not ready to be out.
Sure.
For them. And he sees his face on the National Enquirer, and that's how everyone finds out. And so he calls his CBS rep, who they try to squash it, but they couldn't.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
That's how that's how your family finds out.
That sucks.
That sucks, man.
It absolutely sucks. Keeps in touch with a few people. I have a list of names that I'm not going to read because some haven't happened yet, some have. Some are season 1, which is really interesting. I mean, from what I see, especially on Instagram, it's a really tight-knit community.
Yes. A lot of them live in New Jersey.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
He does not watch the current seasons of Survivor. Your folks do, my friends do. I know exactly what's going on, but in a weird way, after living it, it's hard to watch, so I just catch the highlights.
Okay.
Yeah. And he does not like hidden immunity idols.
Huh.
He didn't play that way, so he'd cut that part. He doesn't need it.
I didn't play that way, so no one should play that way.
Mm-hmm. But he's married. He's living his best life. moved back to South Dakota with his husband. So
Okay.
there you go.
I'm assuming he doesn't return.
No.
Okay.
No, this is the last time we see Mitchell.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. Don't out people that don't want to be outed.
Oh.
I mean, not like, again, anytime when you're telling bad people not to do bad things, or, you know, people that aren't going to listen to you to do, like the tabloids that don't fucking care. They threw out their morals a long time ago.
This is not the last time we're going to have this conversation on Survivor.
Yeah.
Yay! Horrible people.
Making money for reporting things and giving people drama.
Bumper. So that'll do it for this episode of the Survivor Turning Back Time podcast. Thank you. We got on a pedestal a lot during that episode, but it's needed. It absolutely is needed.
I will die on every hill and I will preach on every pedestal.
Jared is absolutely telling the truth on this. He will.
Jokes aside, like, yeah, I can sometimes get preachy. It's just not that hard to be kind. Not nice. I don't care about being nice per se, but be kind. It's not that hard.
Be kind. Please rewind.
I hate you.
This is the early 2000s. That's a thing.
It's true. That's true. Yeah, Blockbuster's still, like, it's wildly successful.
I didn't have a Blockbuster. It didn't exist where I was.
It's okay, Family Video is better.
I didn't even have a Family Video.
Well.
It was a small mom and pop shop.
Huh.
That might not be true. There was definitely a porn section.
Anything you want to plug, Steven?
We're gonna be out for a little bit. So if you're sending emails, if you're sending tweets at us, you're not going to hear us respond to those until episode 5.
Yeah.
So just so you're aware, I probably should have said this in the last episode, but I
well.
didn't. Oh well. Things that I want to plug: sleep, definitely sleep.
Getting a little tired.
Yeah.
I have to scan the entirety of Midsummer Night's Dream before I leave your apartment.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, well that'll be fun. Yeah, get some sleep. Hop on an airplane at 7 in the morning. Anything you want to plug, Jared?
Yeah, I'd like to plug not booking flights at 7 in the morning.
Oh, I like my flights in the morning.
That's because you're a dad.
That's fair. Thank you as always for listening to the Survivor Turning Back Time podcast. I am your dad telling you, eat your vegetables, get the correct amount of sleep that it's supposed to be for you, which everyone tells me different times, so just until you feel good. And drink lots of water, plenty of water. For my co-host Jared, this is Steven.
For my dad, Steven, this is Jared.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Sean?